Oh, my title's correct as well. So, but it doesn't mean a lot, bizarrely. Some of the people were asking me what did I do last night, and I told them the job title. They went, "What's that then?" So I thought it's probably worth telling you what I do. Cam asked me that question actually. What on earth does that mean? So I have probably, and I will say this, probably the best CIO type job, possibly in the country, Europe, potentially the world, because what I do matters to where I live. That's really important. I've worked at global organisations. I have no affinity, and I don't want to go to Boston again, because that's not where I live, and that's what I really care about. So I have a really talented team, and as of probably 2 days ago, I've got 360 people covering a vast area. And I mean vast area, cybersecurity, look at the whole cybersecurity of our organisation. And now we've just been asked to look at personnel and physical security as well. Philomena, who's my CISO, is sat here. Really good to see her here today. And Philomena's moved us along a huge distance. £1 million, when I started 3 years ago, we were spending £1 million a year on cybersecurity. 1 million. I don't think many of the people in this room would get out of bed to try and spend 1 million on such a big task, because it's like a drop in the ocean. So I have that. I've got a chief data office as well. So I've got a bunch of data scientists. I've got a digital lab. All the things you've been talking about over the last couple of days in a very small way. I've got many of the elements that you've also got as well. So we're talking the same language, which is great. I also look after the architecture of the whole organisation, from enterprise architecture right through to solutioning. That's vast, actually. And we only look after 8% of all of the applications and all the data that goes on in our organisation. That's got to grow, or the whole volume of that's got to reduce, one or the other. It'd be nice if both of those things happen. We meet in the middle. But also, roadside technology, operational technology, a huge part of what we do. I've recently separated that group out because it's so important and so wide-reaching. And it's the sort of thing that gets us in the press if it goes wrong, and quite rightly too. And people hold us to account for that. I also have corporate IT. So people getting paid every month, really, really important. People's laptops working, people's phones working. Sounds like commodity these days, but it's our touch point with most of our users, all 6,000 of them, and actually almost 18,000 people in our supply chain as well. They all interact with our systems. And I also then look after the digital and data and technology strategy for the organisation. So I've got to also not only the fix the here and now, I've got to be thinking 5, 10 years in advance. And anybody that works in strategy knows how hard that is, because you're never right in those things, and everyone can pick it apart and go, you've not covered this, you've not covered that. So quite a challenging job, I would say, but massively exciting. And as I say, I've got a great team behind me as well. What I wanted to really give you a bit of a slice, I've got 15 minutes, it's nowhere near enough time to dig into these things in depth. I'm going to give a bit of a slice, and it's not strategic outcomes we're going to talk about today. That too blue sky. Really, what is it that's hurting us now, or where are the opportunities now, where I think this sort of group could assist us with. But it's all about balance. When I talk about the future, Duncan Smith, who's the exec director for operations, says, I don't care about that. You fix this now. So I then go, right, okay, I'll go and fix this now. But secretly, I've got to go off and talk about the future as well. So I've got this split personality I have to keep diving in and out of. And so really, what I do is create balance in the organisation and influence balance, and make sure that us as an organisation are facilitating the needs of National Highways and its suppliers, but also then making sure that we're ahead of the game so something doesn't hit us that we don't expect. Quite a difficult thing to do. But it's all about balance. And we talked quite a bit yesterday about the strategic road network itself. Culturally, and where we've come from, is civil engineering, building sort of roads, fantastic. You know, those things were designed 50s, 60s and 70s. They're still there, they're still working, and they're still working well. They're standing up to the stresses and strains they were never designed for. So our maintenance and the sort of programs that we are doing are keeping all of that going really well. I recently took a trip to Germany to see the Autobahn version of ourselves. And it was a very, as you can imagine, very structured, very disciplined. They don't call each other by their name, they call each other formally by Dr. And that's every single meeting. Really strange culture for us to be in. But one of the things they basically wouldn't talk about, they had a bridge collapse. And but their infrastructure is 10 years older, probably a little bit older than ours as well, probably more advanced than that. And what they were saying is, yeah, we've had that, but it's coming to you. That is quite stark. And so that's what I mean about, do we need this overarching strategy about not what we need to do? No, it's here and now that we need to think about these things. I think also the use of the strategic road network. We live in a digital age where we're on all the time. Everything we do is touched by digital. My mum went into hospital recently. And she was okay after a bit of a turn. She's getting old now, but I said, isn't it great though, all this IT that supports you and gets you fit? And she said, what on earth are you talking about? It's the nurses that look after me. And I know that. But let's just backtrack. Do you see them pressing things, doing things? Well, yes. Well, behind that is a computer that does things. So it touches absolutely everything we do. Now, some of us, like me, I switch things off. I don't like to be on all the time, and I think that's really healthy. But the expectations are growing. So in the future, is it going to be acceptable just to have speed signs on the motorway? Probably not. We're going to have to inform people of different things. We have and collect vast amounts of data, huge amounts of data, and it's sat there, and we sort of mess around with that data and we do the odd thing or two with it. We are not tapping into the power of that data at all. And I think that, for us, is where the answer lies, in how do we get our data to tell us a story, then to inform users. Recently, we've created a partnership through our Digital for Customer program with Apple, Waze, and Google. They're really interested in working with us now because we can give them better information than they have today because we've got our information about our strategic road network. We have weather stations sat on our road, passing weather information and conditions out. And so wouldn't the users want to know that? Probably. And we're working with car manufacturers as well to work out how best delivering those messages and that information. So what an opportunity we've got to get these things done. And we're breaking out of the whole European cycle in that respect as well. There's a lot of groups set up for a European sort of consortiums to get these sort of things done across Europe, passing information into vehicles. That's going to take years and years and years because you're trying to get member states of Europe to come together and do the same thing for the same standard. We don't. So there is a good thing about Brexit, moving out of Europe. We can do certain things probably faster than others, and that's what Google, Waze, and Apple and the likes are looking for us to do. So that's a fantastic opportunity. The reality is, though, RIS3 is not going to be building, the next M40. It is not going to be that. But actually, it's about making more of what we've got, the capacity within our network. Anybody that drives in the roads, we all do it, 7:30 to 9 a.m., busiest time. Why is that? It's because we started this meeting at 8:45. There was an agenda. We all had to be here. That's not actually how we run our lives, really. We have a routine, yes, but we need to break out of that routine every now and again, and that's the only way that we're really going to maximise what we've got on a road network. There is only so much space, but it doesn't mean that people are not stopping learning to drive, and coming onto the network every single day, more and more and more, so it's building. So changing people's attitudes to when they use a road, that's a really big thing for us, and behaviours. And we're working with, I think it's Connect Midlands, on all of the data they're drawing from their local roads, behaviours, attitudes to things, and so we can bring those sort of learnings together and we can share ours as well. I spoke to Cam yesterday, I don't think we've really got that collective travel type approach really set yet. I don't think we've even touched the surface. I genuinely believe that's how you're going to make people's journeys better, by having a collective view of their journey start to end. We're not there. We're not there. So what are the things doing? So When we talk about innovation, and I akin it to safety and research, because safety, the more you talk about safety, the more you do, the more you're proactive about safety, the better outcome for everybody. So the more innovation and research you do, that should deliver benefit as well. What I would say though, it's a balance. It's always a balance, yeah. I have unfortunately I've been in a number of projects recently where we've had to bring something into proper robust service that works 24/7, 365 days a year. When it was innovated or when that piece of work was done, it did not work in that way at all. So what I would ask, I guess, is when you're thinking around innovation and research is not just this here, but actually, what does that service look like? What capabilities do we need? What sort of skills do people need? Because it has to be able to operate at the end. That's what success is. It's not that idea up front that is the success, and you will all know that. But just trying to think practical ways and innovative ways to get things into service. So we talk about robust service. So testing, big area for us. I don't have a test facility. And we heard a little bit about this yesterday. Well, we'll just do it on the side of the road, will we? So you're going to close a road to do some testing? That's quite interesting. We avoid doing that because we want allows people to travel. So how are we going to test in such a way that takes into account -10 in the northwest with a 70-mile-an-hour wind blowing, raining, and we just had a rat infestation? That happened. That happened last year. It brought down signs and signals in a particular area. Because what we'd done is we'd bought signs and signals without heaters in. And we'd had rat infestations. So put that in your risk register, you know. It's quite an interesting one to deal with, but that's how we've got to think. So testing, really, really big thing for us. I think there's a big opportunity around testing. Then we've got enabling our workforce. So we've got around 6,000 people, and the aim is to get those people home safe every single day, and for them to do productive work, and then, you know, to deliver on our ambitions. I think we've still got a very manual. It works. We've got some really good processes, but my goodness, you know, there's plenty of opportunity to optimise that and give those users a much better experience and keep them even safer than they are today. And so I think, again, there's massive opportunity there. And then I'll come on to the disruptors. I'm a natural disruptor. But you know, people in my team probably know that I'm happy to disrupt things for fun sometimes, when there's no risk, obviously. But the things that we fear, which we do fear in IT, I've got to keep this organisation running. I fear things that somebody brings onto my estate. I fear things that somebody can plug into. Yeah. What I've got to start thinking about is actually, let's let them plug in and let's let them test what we've done. Let's let them push the boundaries of where we are. So by pushing the boundaries, it makes us respond. And you don't get that, you'll go, oh, that's all okay, I don't need to improve. Then that big thing happens. So disruptors like generative AI, something that Philomena probably a year or two ago would have been going, oh my God, probably now is the answer to some of our cybersecurity issues, potentially. You know, so I'm a big fan of disruptors used in the right way as well. So just to close off really, I think, you know, this first time I visited this group, I sort of knew what was going on, I saw the photos, but it's quite inspiring actually, listening to some of the things that are going on, and you're just starting. Or I should say we, because I think I should be more involved with this. But I would say to you about innovation and research, again, think about it in terms of balance. The idea is great. Expand your thinking outside of that idea whenever you possibly can. And I'm sure in the next few years, I'll be coming back here and I'll be talking about some amazing thing that we've deployed safely, works 24/7, 365 days a year, self-heals, makes me a cup of tea in the morning, gets me out of bed, walks the dog, all that sort of stuff. So that's my ask. So thank you very much, and it's been a privilege to speak to you.